the Q&A of the people who attended Mega Camp last week. So I know, Nicole, you attended, Chris Weatherly attended, and Victoria, you attended. Did anybody else attend Mega Camp? Okay, cool. Well, we're going to start, Nicole, with you. I'm going to ask you a question, and then I'm going to ask the same question to Chris and Victoria. So Nicole, you're probably our longest tenured agent who attended. You've been licensed for what, 8-9 months?
Yeah.
Cool. This was your first mega camp. What did you think?
Actually, it's my second.
Oh, was it?
Yes, I'm coming up. Yes. I thought last year I felt a little lost, and I felt like it's centered around mega agents. But I think this year it was a little bit more inclusive, and it covered topics that I think that anybody could relate to. I got a lot out of it. What was your question?
What did you think? I thought it was your first time, but
No, it's my second.
You're an old veteran. So, but relative to the last one, you felt like this was a little easier to swallow?
I was brand spanking new when I did it last year. I got a lot out of it this time. Maybe it's because I actually knew what they were talking about this go round. But I thought it was a lot more inclusive too, as far as maybe if you're not a mega agent, you could really understand, and some of the practices they talked about spoke to me a lot.
Cool. Chris, what did you think?
I thought it was great. I'm always a student of the game, so I'm always trying to learn new things, and I took a lot of great notes that I'm starting to implement. A few highlights for me was like the golden letter, the woman that sends out 100 letters a week. Another thing is building that pipeline, that referral, your database and everything. I've been doing that heavily this week. I added a couple of financial advisors, to my referrals list, and I took a lot out of it and starting to implement some things I learned.
Awesome. Victoria, you've been licensed now for a grand total of what, 2 or 3 weeks? So you jumped in head first. What, this is a great question for you. What did you think?
I absolutely loved it. Even though I am brand new, it gave me so many new ideas, specifically for lead generation. So like Chris talked about, one of the mega agents, one of her practices for getting leads is sending out 100 letters to people in a certain neighborhood every single week. And it basically says, I have a client who's interested in a property just like yours. If you ever think of listing your property, give me a call. And from doing this, she gets 2 leads just from that every single week. And she says it's all about consistency. Something else I really loved was every single person that spoke had a coach. Even if they were writing 90 million a year, every single person had a coach.
Cool. Well, thank you. I agree. We should all have coaches. Even if you lose your use for me, I promise you there's more coaches out there. MAPS is a Keller Williams owned coaching service that they do a great job. They use Keller Williams isms all the time and can teach you on our programs and our systems. But at the end of the day, we are all students of the game, as Chris said, and we all need to institute our higher learning. We're gonna snake back around. Victoria, I'll start with you. What breakouts did you attend? And before I ask that, I guess I'll posit this. So each day, there's 2 major days, and they start off with a general session, and then there's an allowance of time for breakout sessions. The breakout sessions is where you can really cater your learning to what's specific to you as an agent and where in the season of life that you're in. So for instance, one day there was one for productivity coaches. Well, you can best bet that I attended that one. And then there was another one that spoke to where I was at in my production business. So it was really easy to cater my learning. So the next question is, what breakout sessions did you attend? If you could just maybe highlight one or two.
Yeah. So I attended lead generation in a high-end market. I also attended changing needs of luxury, and then leadership at every level. So for example, like leadership at every level, they kept talking about, you know, how no matter if you're brand new or if you're a broker, there's always opportunities to lead. So they kept asking, you know, important questions. You know, why are you actively looking to change your life by pursuing a career in real estate? Let's see. I also attended investment deals. So people who, they spoke about how, you know, you're only making money when you're selling properties, but how do you secure your wealth for retirement? So they spoke about how you can start, you know, buying investment properties, you know, with money you already have or borrowing money. And one person, she actually had up to 100 investment properties. She was only like maybe 40 years old. So even when she stops writing business, she's still generating income from all her properties.
I love that you bring that up because I mean, we just had the investor panel. I don't know if you were on with us at that time, but you know, investments are important to us. So the whole gamut is run with Mega Camp. Chris, what were some breakouts you attended?
Yeah, I only attended one breakout. It was the new build. That one was extremely interesting to me because I feel like not many people think about the new build situation. We have a lot of clients that are, you know, sometimes picky, and a new build is the perfect way to remedy their pickiness and them being able to get what they want in the property.
Cool. Yeah, and I know you're trying to drive after new builds in our area here, so I'm sure that was good learning for you. Nicole, what were some breakouts you attended?
I went to Path to Financial Freedom and time blocking. And both were amazing, I thought, but I'll talk about time blocking. I think they said that 20% of your big rock will drive 80% of your success. So it's not necessarily about filling out every hour of your day. It's about identifying the huge boulders that are going to drive your success and making time or making sure that those are on your calendar and everything else will kind of fall into place. And that was refreshing for me because I was in the school of thought, well, you've got to have your entire day planned. And while you do, we all can't do it all. And so if you identify your big rock or your one thing or whatever those look like, then the rest is your success is going to come.
Cool. Yeah, that goes back. I know we had a class maybe 3 months ago or so on the 80-20 principle, Pareto's principle, that says in any industry and any business that you ever will be in, 20% of your work output will contribute to 80% of your outcome.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the country here, United States. 20% of the people own 80% of the income, so or the wealth. So it's kind of interesting information there. But let's end with this, and this is the stuff that I think would be good for us to take notes on if we did not attend, and even if we did. Nicole, we'll start with you. What was one or two things that you're taking away that you're going to start instituting right away in your business? One or two things. I'm not looking for a ton, just one or two.
Sure. One was do what you love every day and get in and being involved in your community. And my team and I already have a Ronald McDonald House meal prep and serve on this month. And I think, you and I have talked about in our one-on-ones that being involved in all the things is how I would like to build my business. And so if you're doing what you love every day, it shows. And, it doesn't feel like a mountain to climb or work. It's just being involved and giving back. And giving back was another thing that they talked a lot about, come from a place of gratitude and giving, and success will follow that too. So that's number one on my priority list right now.
That's cool that you say that. And your the way that you go about having fun in what you do is going to be different than the rest of the agents on here. So I guess the bit of coaching or whatever would be to internalize that comment. Like, what does it look like for you to have fun doing what you're doing? And for some of us, it's volunteering and giving back, and for some of us, it might be golfing or
Drinking wine,
events, things of that nature. All right. Chris, what were one or two things that you're going to be taking away and instituting now?
Yeah, building an audience. Him talking to, one of the speakers spoke a lot about highly of YouTube, being able to control what your audience sees and building that. Another one is is going to be videos, sending videos to my clients, update videos. I think that was a pretty cool one that my clients will appreciate.
Yeah, I think a lot of people these days, they'll sit and watch a short video. They're going to see text and probably skip over it. So it's definitely more immersive, also more personable. Great. Okay, Victoria, bring us home. What were one or two things that you're going to be taking away?
Yeah, so during one of the mega agent sessions, they talked about how to stay in contact. So when things are slow, you should be doubling down on your contact. One way to do this is through something called care calls. So for example, just staying in touch with your network, following them on social media. For example, if someone gets a new puppy, send out, dog biscuits. Or if someone has a baby, send a congratulation card and just stay in contact.
Cool. So your main objective from here is going to be to Facebook stalk people.
Yes.
Hey, do it shamelessly. I'll tell you what, you get a lot of traction when you pay attention to other people's lives. I'm reading a book. It's called How to Influence People and Win Friends. It's an old book. But they say that you're going to earn more friends, which in our business means more clients, when you think of others more than you think of yourself. So when you see somebody doing something great, to your point, Victoria, send them a letter. At the very least, send them a Facebook message or a comment. I promise you it'll come back around. Great. Anything else, or what questions do the people who didn't attend have for people that did attend?
Another thing that I also learned was acting with purpose. Waking up and doing everything with purpose. Seems like that's resulting in a lot of business as well.
Good. Yeah, I think that comes back to what Nicole was saying, is that, like, if you love what you're doing and you're doing it with purpose, then it doesn't feel like a job. It can be really fun to do it. Any questions from the rest of you folks? All right, I'm gonna take us through some key things that I wrote down that are imperative for us in our current situations as new agents. The first one being brand. So and you three that attended, you can jump in at any point when you hear anything that maybe struck a chord with you. But Gary interviewed his son, who I'm sure in the future will take over the organization, and a gentleman who is like a professor of brand. And what does brand mean to us? If you're thinking about your real estate business, your brand is not just your name. It's not Keller Williams. That's not Casey Cornell's brand, right? Casey Cornell's brand is, what is it? Cornell Consultants?
Real estate and development, correct.
There you go. Casey has identified what he's going after, okay? If we've not yet done that, it's time to start thinking about what our brand is going to be. So, for instance, we got brand new realtors on here. What do you want to stand for? What defines you? And so they broke down brand into 5 different key things that will separate you from the rest. And that's just what brand is. It's what separates you from the rest. It's not just a name. There are 5 things that will help you. So if you want to write these down, you'd be wise to do so. This will help you with your thinking. Number 1, when thinking about brand, define your target group and your brand's promise. So the question there is, who are we best at serving? So for instance, a young gun like Chris Weatherly, he's probably not going to say, I'm great with the elderly, right? Or, a brand new agent may not be great for luxury listings because we haven't sold anything yet, right? We have to prove ourselves first. But if we can define who is our target audience, that's going to really help you when you're lead generating. And then what is your brand promise? So this is all number 1, define your target group and brand promise. So within your brand or within your target audience, what is your promise to them? Is it to provide unparalleled customer service through our wonderful communication and follow-up? I don't know. This is kind of where we get our value proposition from. What separates you from the rest? Why should somebody work with you versus working with somebody else? And the quote here that I really liked was, we should appeal to fewer people so that we can appeal to more people. If you think about that, let's reverse engineer that. So if we want to appeal to the masses, we should first start small with a smaller group. So maybe it's first-time home buyers. Well, where could I go to market to first-time home buyers? Probably apartment complexes, small condo communities, colleges. The other thing to think about is, what are you providing that others are not? So number 2, develop a unique positioning. Why should people work with you? So number 1 was define the target group and your brand's promise. And then number 2 is develop a unique positioning. Why should people work with you versus working with everybody else? We'll do this in practice sometime soon, where we literally write our value proposition, or kind of like our soapbox 2 sentences. Why should you work with me? If it's nothing that you've thought about before, it's a serious question that you need to answer. Why should people work with you? There's 8,000 of us realtors across the city. There's probably, 25,000 across the state. Why should they pick you? Number 3, leverage your brokerage's brand. Keller Williams is kind of a big deal. You may have heard this, but and maybe you haven't. Keller Williams is the #1 brokerage in the world. Not only are we #1 in agent count, we have over 180,000 agents. And you can write that number down. It's going to make you sound smarter. if anyone asks, hey, aren't you brand new? You can say, yeah, but I've got the backing of 180,000 agents behind me. And we sell the most units of any brokerage, and we make our agents the most money of any brokerage. This is worldwide, guys. So our Keller Williams is a brand in and of itself, but Gary Keller, CEO, founder, he wants Keller Williams brand to be small. He wants your brand to be huge. He is for the agent. He's not for the brokerage. He could probably care less if he had his way, and he said this, I think verbatim, if there was a way for him to not have Keller Williams on the signs, he would do that. It's more about our brand, but we can leverage Keller Williams' size and as well as the tools, right? Technology, training, all the network that we have. I was just sharing with a couple of recruits this morning about the referral network that we have access to. I literally got a call yesterday from a person in Arizona who I've never met before, from Goodyear, Arizona. I asked her, how'd you meet me? Or how'd you come across me? She said, I am on command. I'm in command, and I saw you in the referral network, and it looks like you're active on there. And so Courtney, my awesome showing assistant who's getting her license, is out there showing properties right now to these people. Number 4, maintain presence with past clients. So in order to build our brand, you need to really cherish the people you've already worked with. And this kind of goes back to what we were saying, like the golden letter, those can all go out to past clients a couple times a year. Here in a few weeks, we're going to have a coaching session on holiday planning. If a Christmas card isn't in your future plans, it needs to be. That's the reason for that is because you're going to obviously come from value. You're just going to wish people a happy holiday, and you can throw some humor into it or just be you. But at the end of the day, you are maintaining a presence with your past clients. And you might be saying, well, I'm brand new. I don't have past clients. Yeah, you do. Any coworkers you've worked with in the past, any family members that are going to be working with you in the future, just regard them as past clients and treat them like gold. I'm pretty sure that everyone here has heard me say, identify your top 50, identify your VIPs. Those are the people you need to be staying relevant with, because those are the people who are going to help you build your businesses. So number 4 there, when building a brand, maintain presence with past clients. That can be an encourager as well with people that maybe you've touched base with in the past, but maybe you've fallen out of touch with. Follow back up with them. Like Victoria mentioned, care calls. The world's going through some crazy crap right now. Like we got the COVID resurgence of the Delta variant, right? That's one reason for a care call. If you know anyone that has family in New Orleans or in New York, Philadelphia, Lake Tahoe, all these places where the crap is hitting the fan via Mother Nature, why not give those people a phone call? Show that you care. You don't have to bring up real estate at all, and I would encourage you not to. Just be a good person. Business will come because of it, I promise. The 5th and final opportunity that we have to build our brand is to lean into service issues and failures. That sounds weird. But when we lean into our failures and admit wrongdoing, you will build credibility with your folks and anyone who sees it. What does that look like? So let's just say that you're on social media and somebody poo-poos something that you've done in the past or disagrees with what you said. Instead of deleting that comment, go ahead and have a back and forth with that person. Maybe explain your position. If nothing else, you're gonna, maybe show the rest of the world that you can talk to people and maybe even smooth things over. but just own up to issues that come up. And I promise you, you will see your brand increase. So unless you're on a team and you work under a larger brand, even if you do that, you're still a brand in and of yourself. So, one of the takeaways from Mega Camp for me was, what do I want my brand to be? It's more than a logo. It's more than picking out the fun team colors and stuff, which I can't lie, we did that this week. It was fun. But behind the colors and the logo is something that you stand for. Any questions on brand? Another thing that was said that I thought was really valid and that echoes Nicole's sentiments was, one of the recurring themes from this whole thing was be you, do you. So we're on these coaching calls once a week. We do office hours once a week or twice a week, and we hear from other agents, and we hear some of what they're doing great and some of what they're doing maybe need to be doing better. At the end of the day, are we going to copy 100% verbatim what other people are doing? Or can we make that our own? So I go back to the story that Jason Abrams shared. This was last year at Family Reunion. And if you've heard this before, hear it again. There was a mega agent who came to Jason Abrams, who, if you don't know, is a great speaker, great coach as well. And she said, hey, I'm getting out of the business. I just don't have a passion for cold calling. I don't like phone calls at all. I can't stand it. I want to leave. He said, well, you're doing an amazing business. Are you sure you want to give that up? And she said, yep, can't do it anymore. So he said, well, let me ask you before you leave the profession, what do you like to do? And she said she likes to play tennis. And so he said, well, here's what I'll tell you to do. I want you to play more tennis. I want you to play 3 times a week at least, but you got to promise me something. All 3 times that you play each week, you're going to play with different teammates, different partners. And so she started doing this. And before long, she had built up a tennis club of sorts, where they got a lot of ladies together and they played tennis 3 times a week. She was enjoying what she was doing. She wasn't picking up the phone and cold calling. She was passionate about it, and business was coming out of it because she would sponsor things. She would sponsor the towels they use, or have a sign on the fence around the tennis court. All this is being said to say to you, what is it that you like to do? I know I'm going to pick on someone. Derek has some big dogs, like real big dogs. And I'm assuming that you like to spotlight these dogs because I've seen your social media and they're awesome. How could we make dogs part of our business strategy and part of our lead generation so that we are making this industry something that we love doing? It's a rhetorical question. Maybe we can have a conversation about this. Dog parks would be great, a dog walking service, dog events, etc. Or maybe you're like Casey and you like cars. Casey, what do you got going on with the car industry lately?
I'm still working on horsepower farms, so we're going to start doing drive-through and donuts after Labor Day. So Saturday mornings, for anybody who wants to check out horsepower farms, partner up with my sister's donut company, Tupelo Donuts, and you can come through with your cars and kind of see the project.
Your sister runs Tupelo Donuts?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Dude. Why have I not been in touch with her? Can she sponsor some stuff for us?
Yeah.
Dude, if you guys have not had Tupelo Donuts, they're unreal. They're crazy flavors, awesome stuff. Okay, so you like donuts, clearly. I've seen your donut adventures. You like coffee, you like cars. I see you instituting those things into your lead generation. You like photography, you like flowers. There's all kinds of stuff that Casey likes, and he's making a business out of this. I personally like hosting events. I like drinking beers, and I like hanging out with people that I like. So we do a lot of events on my end, and it turns into business. So be you, do you, find things that you like to do. Don't let me sit here and preach to you about how to run your business. I will give you best practices though. And if you don't know what you like to do, then you best try the things that are recommended to you, because they will work. Even if you don't love them at first, you will grow to love them, or at least understand the necessary evil behind things like cold calling. One of the other things that I took away from this mega camp, there was a panel discussion on building wealth. And this kind of goes back to investment properties. But have you guys thought about how much you're worth? The breakout session was called Legacy. Build the wealth for your team. And it was put on by Wendy Papasan, who you may know the last name Papasan. Jay Papasan is the co-author of Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And she runs a massive team, and she's worth a lot of money. They talked about net worth. If we're not thinking about leaving our legacy right now today, and I don't care if you're Victoria or Chris, who you're young bucks, you're grabbing the world by the horns, or if you're old folks like myself and Casey, it doesn't matter what phase of life you're at, you should be thinking about the legacy you're leaving behind. And for us just to slow down and ponder that, there's value in that. Net worth, just in case you're wondering, is what you own minus what you owe. So there's lots of books out there and that you can read. I know, what's his name, Dave Ramsey, is a big proponent of no debt. And it's not about no debt. It's just about understanding where you're at with your net worth. And in this Wendy Papasan's team, she's got several people that are worth more than $1 million, have over $1 million in assets, and owe less than $1 million. Obviously, their net worth is larger than $1 million. And so they've started a Millionaires Club. Their keys to success in order to build your wealth and build your legacy is to surround yourself with success. Have you guys ever heard the line, "You are the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most"? If that's the case, I'm probably a big dumbass, because I hang out with my high school friends still, and none of them are millionaires. Should I alter the people that I'm hanging out with a little bit? Yeah, I don't want to give up those friendships, but should I spend more time intentionally around people who are more successful than myself? Absolutely. You're going to gain knowledge. You're going to gain that competitive spirit with those people. So if you know of people right now who are maybe entrepreneurs or business owners who are doing really well, get in their corner, bend their ear, ask them to coffee, ask them to hang out sometime. I promise you, your business and your net worth, your legacy will increase because of those relationships. I like what they did to try to promote this. They had Wealth Building Wednesdays, where they would just have a Zoom or a webinar or an in-person like coffee type date. And they would get together and they would present different wealth building techniques that they would research a week ahead of time, and they'd come and present and then just have a conversation about it. Once your mind starts to focus on this though, this is a bold rule, what you focus on expands. So focusing on wealth and building that legacy will force you to actually do it. In Wendy Papasan's mind, wealthy meant having enough passive income to fund your perfect life. So passive income is money coming in that you don't have to work directly for. So like selling a house, that's not passive income. You're actually doing the work to get that income. But owning a house and having your tenants pay you money after the mortgage is paid, that's passive income. You don't have to do much for that. Building a downline through Keller Williams, meaning recruiting your buddies to come over here and be productive. That's passive income. You don't have to do any work after you get them to sign. So just some interesting thoughts. One other thought that they had was, how can we live off of one income? So if you're married, is there a way that you could live off of one person's income and bank the rest? And when I say bank the rest, I mean invest in other things. That's what they did. Moral of the story is, can we learn to live off of less? And I think the answer for all of us is yes. I've got a few hobbies that are expensive hobbies. Golf, which I'm not going to give up. Buying shoes, which I should give up. And then some other stuff, which I could probably get away with giving up. Hopefully this conversation is good for y'all. We've got a little bit of time left. I want to give a quote from Gary Keller. Don't avoid what drives success. Don't avoid what drives success. In our industry, what drives success?
Going to work.
Having contact with people, like connecting with people in some way, like making phone calls, having events where you're meeting people, and also, like you said, being around people who are successful.
I love it. What you said at the start, and then Jason, what you said, going to work, making contact with people. There's no secret to success. There's no secret sauce. It is that. It's just that. If you did nothing but generate leads all day, you'd be a millionaire. We don't want to do it. We take the easy way out. Myself included. There's days where, oh man, I'm just not in the mood to do this or that. We take the easy way out. If we want to be successful, we're going to do the things we know lead to success. He says, just talk to people. Gary Keller, billionaire, multi-billionaire, just talk to people. All right. I'm going to go down a few little quick hitters that I wrote down that I thought were good. Don't be afraid to use YouTube. If you're comfortable, and even if you're not comfortable, get comfortable. YouTube is, I believe I read that it is more used than Google on a daily basis. People spend more time on YouTube than they do on Google, which is saying something, right? #1 search engine in the world. So be on YouTube. They interviewed a person out of Florida, I believe, Orlando, who films videos. And this guy got in good with the NBA circuit because he filmed Shaquille O'Neal's house when it was for sale. It wasn't even his listing. He just asked for permission to go in and do a little video of it. He does a video, and then all these other NBA players call him and ask him to represent them. I'm sure they're not buying cheap houses. So YouTube, use it. Don't be afraid to try to work on your referral network. As I said earlier, I got a referral from Arizona. I don't know this person. I've sent referrals to Arizona. Why not be one of those agents who's drumming up business in other parts of the state, other parts of the country, other parts of the world, because there's Keller Williams all over the world. Send referrals, get 25% off of a 5-minute phone call. That sounds pretty worthwhile to me. The more people you know in other parts of the country, the more people will give you business as well. Make sure you're focusing on getting reviews. Always get a review, and they don't always have to be from clients. You're a brand new agent, go get a review from your mom. Get a review from your ex-coworker. Get a review from your neighbor. Get it on your Google business account and see your name start to pop up more frequently than other people who are not getting reviews. Going back to the golden letter, sending 100 letters out each week. This lady uses a red envelope. I like that little twist on things because a red envelope is definitely going to stand out versus a white one. She focuses on areas that her buyers are looking for. Let's just say you're brand new, you don't have any buyers. Where can you send letters to? Send them to areas that your market center has listings in and say, hey, we have a listing here. You don't have to say I have, because that'd be a lie, but we have, you're affiliated with a larger team. Leverage Keller Williams. We have this beautiful listing over here. Do you know of anyone who might be interested in buying it? We just sold this home down the street from you for $20,000 over asking price. Do you know of anyone else that might be interested in selling their home soon? Would love to connect. By the way, I live in your neighborhood. Let's chat sometime. Know your numbers. We've had classes on this one, and we're going to have a class next week on this, actually. Statistics that will make you sound like the local expert. That's going to be the class next week. I don't know about you guys, but I don't always feel like the numbers are the sexiest part of the business. But if we are running a business, we have to know our numbers. We have to know if we're being profitable. We have to know if the money coming in is more than the money going out, because we want the net worth of our business to be incredible. Knowing your numbers, and start off now. Even before you get your first transaction, get a P&L set up. If we need to have a P&L discussion sometime, I'd love to do that. I'm happy to share mine with you and the way that I go about doing mine. When the industry heats up, there was a person who was doing walk and talk inspections. So go back to the spring when you were having 20 offers on properties. One way to sweeten the pot was to eliminate the inspection and the remedy. But you never want to actually do that for your clients if you're being a fiduciary. So one person had the good idea to start paying an inspector to walk through with these people at the showing. They get their inspection done before they write the offer. Now, does each time that happens cost money? Yes, it does, but it's one way to beat out others. And then last thing that I'll end with is, how can I find leverage in my life? This was a whole breakout session as well, but there was a person who talked about adding leverage in her life in areas that you don't typically think of having leverage. What I mean by leverage is finding somebody else to do the stuff that you hate doing so you can focus on your one big thing. Or like Nicole said earlier, your big rocks, like lead generation. So this person found it challenging to do all the work that she needed to be doing and do laundry. She's a single mom with multiple kids. And so she hired somebody to just do laundry. She hired somebody to clean her house. I'm pretty sure this person even said they hired somebody to pick up her kids at daycare. That might be a stretch for me personally. I think we need to be there for our kids, but how can you add leverage in your life so you can focus on your one big thing, like lead generation, and not have any excuses? Hopefully, guys, you all took something away, at least one thing away from this call today that you can institute in your business. This was more a brainstorming exercise as opposed to us focusing on one big thing. But it all really comes back to one thing, and that's consistency with the stuff that you know is going to deliver results. So 90 days from now, I'm going to end the way I started. 90 days from now, will you look back and say, man, September was the start of when the switch flipped in my mind, and I started taking lead generation seriously. I started attending more classes. I started filling out the forms so I knew my numbers. And now here I am, it's Christmas, it's the month of December, and I'm gonna buy some amazing gifts for my lovely wife, my husband, my kids, my dog, because I've got 4 things in contract? Or are you going to sit here 90 days from now and say, what was that coaching session back in September about? Something about being consistent with lead generation? Thanks for attending, guys. I appreciate you. Let's make sure that we are going out there and doing the things we know we need to do to be successful in our businesses and in our lives. Thank you to Victoria, to Nicole, and to Chris for participating and stepping up to the plate. Thank you guys so much for participating.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Josh.
I just got it working, Josh. How about that? Perfect
Wonderful.
timing.
You're the man. All right. Talk to you all
Meet the
later. Have a
people.
great week.
All
Happy
right.
Labor Day, by the way.
Bye.